This video is a guide for you to become your dream self this autumn. It's the perfect time of year for a refresh, a restart, to reevaluate your goals and how your year is going. When we think about becoming our dream self, we can be tempted to start with physical things. So my dream self lives in this kind of home, she drives this specific car, she looks like this. Instead, we need to start with a feeling. The only way any part of your dream self, the house, the car, the body, is going to manifest itself in the physical world is if you start with how you feel first. You need to embody your dream self in your everyday life, in the little habits you do day after day. Act as if you already are your dream self and watch yourself become her. Hello, welcome to Dream Self Diaries, a series dedicated to helping you develop healthy habits to up-level your mindset and embody your dream self today. I'm Julia, and in today's video we're talking about how to become your dream self this autumn. Don't know about you, but I am feeling so inspired. I always feel inspired this time of year. I don't know if it's like leftover back to school energy where there feels like this sense of possibility. There's also an element of like time urgency in terms of the stuff that you want to achieve in the year. It's like I need to really focus on the stuff that I want to get done. Energetically, this is the right time to try something new or maybe have a bit of a reset, refocus, reevaluate. There's this latent energy of change, which is really exciting. So I thought it was the perfect time to do this guide. We are going to make a mood board for autumn. I'm going to use Pinterest. The goal with this kind of thing is to pick images that evoke a certain feeling. Does this particular picture say something about how you want to feel this autumn, or whether you want to feel confident or reflective or cozy? It will be an instinctive thing. When you see a photo, you'll be like, yes. If the answer is and you're not confident in it, don't put it on your board because you're not having a strong reaction to it, and you want things that are going to inspire you, and so you need that strong reaction. I am going to get a scarf because it is a bit cold in a t-shirt. This is better. I wanted to start this guide with the vision board step because it is one of the ones that I find most helpful in terms of cultivating the right feeling to embody your dream self. So I have a vision board. I did one for summer, like I said, but I also have one for the year. It's a really good thing to do to get into the feeling of autumn. Okay, so this is what happens when I go on my homepage, and the algorithm on Pinterest is pretty good at giving you images that you like in terms of ones that you've saved to your boards before. So you can see I've got quite a few pink ones, I've got a few spooky ones, lots of home ones, and so I'm seeing already quite a few things that I could potentially go on my vision board. And as I say, don't overthink it. If you are drawn to something, don't like rationalize it and be like, oh, why do I like that? Or what is that trying to say? Or what does that mean? This isn't the time to be working out why something's speaking to you. This is kind of similar to journaling in terms of you're going to maybe discover things that you didn't realize. So you might be drawn, for example, to this image here of all of these lovely flowers, and you might not know why, but maybe that is a sign that you should be buying yourself more flowers. And these might seem like really silly little things, but it's to do with the things that will help boost your mood, and that is not a silly thing to be concerned about. So if you are feeling like, what am I doing? Don't dismiss yourself like that. This is going to be a really helpful process. I have my summer vision board on my lock screen, and it has given me a lot of encouragement the past few months, which we're going to go into later. So on my autumn vision board, no surprise so far, some of the ones that are speaking to me are piles of books with candles, this one of a gloomy day outside with lights on inside, and this one of a lovely morning with the sun coming in. I also am going to specifically be on the lookout for running photos. That is something that I want to continue doing because I find it really helpful for my mental health and my energy throughout the day to go for a run in the morning. So I want to put that on my board to encourage myself to keep going with that. I think also something to put on your board would be outfits. I love autumn fashion. I much prefer stuff like this, layers, these kind of deep colours. I just love that way more than summer. So I'm going to put on some outfit photos as well. I think if you also see, I've got some motivational like quotes coming up on my feed. So if you see them and one of them speaks to you, go for it, save that one. I am seeing a lot of Gilmore Girls images, which is not surprising because this is a time of year where people tend to watch Gilmore Girls because it feels very autumnal. There's something about that like small town feeling of the show. I know some people find the characters really annoying, but there is something endearing about it if you can get through the bits where Lorelai is a bit annoying. On the subject of that autumn media, we're going to talk about music in a bit, because that is such an important tool for me to be feeling like my dream self. But we could also talk about autumn media in terms of like TV shows or films. So we mentioned Gilmore Girls, which is one that a lot of people tend to associate with autumn, but you'll probably also have things that you personally associate with autumn, not because it's a particularly seasonal show or film, but because that's when you really got into it. So for me, the US version of Shameless is something that always reminds me of autumn, because I first started watching it in like October 2016. It's something that reminds me of autumn. So I could put Fiona Gallagher pictures on my mood board if I felt like that might inspire me and get me in the mood for autumn. So it's just about anything that you can use to romanticize this time of year and to inspire you to carry on with your good habits, form new good habits to help you move closer to your ideal version of yourself. And now I'm going to save these photos. And I would also say at this stage, don't worry about having too many photos, because you can go through them again as you arrange them on your mood board and get rid of the ones that either are duplicates, you know, if you've got ones that are pretty similar, or ones that you realise don't fit anymore with the rest of the photos. The key is don't overthink it, just pick the ones that spark something in you and that really speak to you. I have now got all of my photos ready. I have gone through Pinterest, found a range of photos, whether it's outfit photos, quotes, cozy home scenes that are good to remind me to be my best self this autumn. I have 53 pictures saved. Now that is clearly way too many to fit on a vision board, but I am now going to go through them. I'm going to make my vision board in PowerPoint because that's what I have, so that is easy for me. You can also make it in Canva. I've got so many quotes that stood out, so that's gonna be something that I need to go through. As you're doing this, you don't need to overthink it. Try and be led by instinct. You will end up with a good finished product, with something that you're happy with. Trust me. And I've not got any music on because I'm recording this, but absolutely put on nice autumnal music. If I weren't recording this, I'd be putting on It's the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown soundtrack, because that to me is the sound of autumn. Okay, I have finished my vision board, my autumn mood board, and I am so happy with it. I love the colours, I love the quotes I've chosen, I love the pictures. It's really giving me the right feeling, which is the key to this. I'm feeling inspired, it's also quite cozy, it's motivating, it's encouraging. Love it! This is the key when you're making your mood board. It's to focus on the way things make you feel and how they can encourage you. So I'm gonna save this, screenshot it and save it and put it as my lock screen. So then I'll be able to look at it every day. So excited. One thing that I've been noticing is the importance of journaling at this time. It's a season of change, so I'm really noticing on the days when I don't journal and then I have to catch up or feel like I need to catch up, there's so much to write. Like, I have so much to say and there's so much that I want to change. I'm in a period of uncertainty right now, and so I'm trying to live with that and not let that stress me out. I graduated this summer, so if you're in like a similar situation, or maybe you're questioning what you're doing, is now the right time to switch jobs or to put more energy into your passion project, reevaluating your relationships. That uncertainty can be really intimidating and we might feel like we want to run away from it, but it is really valuable to sit with that and write about it. And so I found sometimes I need to write in the morning and the evening. I've journaled consistently for like the last year and a half and have found it to be so helpful. Oh my gosh. Normally I just journal in the evening and occasionally in the morning. In the summer I like journaling in the morning just because it felt like there was lots of energy at the beginning of the day. It felt good to be introspective in the morning, whereas now with cozy night it feels better to be introspective in the evening. Like, that feels very natural. But I've been finding I need to journal a lot more in terms of what I'm writing and like journaling in the morning and the evening. If you can start developing a journaling routine, I think that will really help you manifest your dream self this autumn. Just become aware of what's going on in your head. Basically, by writing out your thoughts, you can then spot patterns and see maybe some subconscious negative beliefs that are coming through in your writing, things that you wouldn't notice in your head, but when they're written down you can see them. And if you review like for a week, or you do like a fortnightly review or a monthly review and look back and just see, this is where it's helpful to like list the emotions that you felt every day. Just write a list of, today I feel sad, angry, happy, joyful, whatever. You can then spot patterns and look at, for example, I saw this person this day, and on all of those days I seem to be feeling angry or alone, and this person's supposed to be my friend, so what's going on there? Or on this day I did cooking, like maybe I did some batch cooking, and I'm always saying that I'm feeling joyful because maybe when you cook you listen to music or you listen to your favourite podcast. So you can then make associations between things, and having it written means that it's really obvious and it's irrefutable, because I can have a tendency to argue with myself about what's happening. Like, it's very easy to trick yourself into staying in familiar cycles, but if you have it written in your journal, whether that's just listing your emotions, writing a little bit about what happened that day, you can't really argue with it because you wrote it. So if you aren't currently journaling or writing a list, even just of, like I said, today I feel, writing things that happened in your day, that can be something that I think would really benefit you going into autumn, into this season, which is more reflective. It can help you get more in alignment with who you want to be, because you're spotting things that aren't helping you and maybe subconscious patterns that you had. That's something I really recommend. I mentioned cooking there. Another thing I would say, this is something I'm really excited about, is all of the hearty autumn recipes. The mind-body connection is really important, and sometimes we can treat our bodies as like an afterthought, and this might sound weird, but bear with me. I'm very intellectual, like I can be very much all in my head, and this is why I like things like yoga or breathing exercises, because it reminds me to reconnect with my body. In this season, you might find yourself craving more hot drinks like tea. I mean, I drink tea year round, but I'm definitely gonna start making hot chocolate. Or there's this BBC Good Food recipe for chai that I want to make because it's just so warming and it's got nice spices and nice flavours. It's just very autumnal, so I'm going to do that. Also, around this time of year, soups, like leek and potato soup. You might not like soup, but there are so many recipes out there. Like, you can make vegan leek and potato soup, you can make vegan tomato soup. I really like the Hemsley and Hemsley tomato soup. That one's really easy to make. You can try like a bean stew, or I love Alison Roman's brothy beans recipe. I am really excited to make that actually, because I've been waiting for the weather to get colder in order to justify me making a pot of beans, and now it is. Now I can make that. Doing these things, finding these recipes that you really associate with autumn, whether it's things that you made last year, like last year I made a lot of stock at this time. I can't remember what she calls it, but I'll link the recipe. It's Nadia Gilbert's. You can like use it to cook rice, you can add it as the vegetable stock in your soups. you can just heat it up and like drink it, and it's really flavorful and delicious. This sounds weird, but when you make it, you'll see exactly how amazing it is. Making these things that I associate with autumn helps me to romanticize this time and really pay attention to what's happening. And that's helping me become my dream self, because my dream self is someone who is kind. Maybe I'm making soup or a stew or the beans and cooking it for someone else, you know, sharing a meal. My dream self is also kind in terms of I'm looking after myself. So it's good for my health, like my mental health, and also physical health if I'm making myself like garlic kale, nice spiced rice, roasted vegetables, right? So get on board with like some cooking things that you can make. I think also something else that I'm going to be doing is going through my wardrobe. People talk about spring cleaning, but now when we're going to get like our winter coats and our winter scarves out of our wardrobes, that can also be a time to look at things in your wardrobe and be like, oh, it's been summer and I've not worn this skirt or this top at all. Is this a sign that I could get rid of it because I'm not wearing it in the season that it needs to be worn? So that's something to reevaluate as well. Go through your wardrobe and tidy up. Maybe you want to decorate for autumn as well. So get some of that stuff out to start getting in the mood for autumn. Just get everything in place to be living out that dream version of your life, and then you can align your mindset and your actions with your space, if that makes sense. So you can see I've got a bit of a cozy vibe going with, I've got my lamps on, I've also got my candle on, I had my fairy lights on earlier. I'm just reviewing my mood board, like vision board that I did for the summer. I made it in, I don't know, May, June, and I'm looking at it now. Wait, I'll put it on the big screen and I'll put a photo up for you so you can see what I'm talking about. Part of me just did this as like a fun exercise to get in the mood for summer. I hoped that maybe some of the things would like manifest or materialize, but I didn't necessarily have big hopes that would happen, because some of these were in my mind quite ambitious. But I'm looking at them now and I'm like, no, this is a pretty good representation of what my mindset has turned into, particularly ones that I put on there with like no hope of them actually making an impact. So the stop putting your life on hold because of how you feel about your body and your body loves you. Those ones I put on because I was like looking for some kind of like lift, some kind of confidence boost, because I wasn't feeling like happy about the way that I looked in my body, and I'm someone who likes wearing like loads of layers. I find it's just more interesting in terms of like putting an outfit together. You can add lots of different patterns, textures, colours, big jackets, big coats, big jumpers, scarves, hats. Like that's way more me. So even before I had like any kind of problems with body confidence, I didn't really like summer anyway, but I have found it more difficult in the last few years because I have put on weight, so I do feel really uncomfortable in the summer just in terms of my body, and also I just hate hot weather. Like, I hate it so much. We're now finally getting autumn weather. I like being cozy. I mean, it's not even 8 o'clock now, it's completely pitch black and I've got my lights on. I'll be up for another few hours. Like, this is what I like. Side rant about how much I love autumn. The thing is, I put these quotes about body confidence on my summer vision board, not really thinking that that would make that much of an impact or that I would be able to change the way that I felt about my body. And there's another one, you don't need to be pretty like her, you can be pretty like you. Like, I don't know about you, I know lots of people who are so pretty. I remember my cousin saying that like her friends are the most beautiful people she knows. Like, she knows them both inside and out, and so like, yes, they look really nice, but because you know someone so well, that makes them more beautiful, because you are then familiar with like their laugh or like the changes of their facial expressions or their eyes, or, you know, just really particular things about people. When you are surrounded by people who you think, oh, there are so many lovely qualities and also they're really beautiful or really pretty. I needed this quote, you don't need to be pretty like her, you can be pretty like you, because that just really stuck out to me when I was making this vision board, because I was like, I don't need to be sad or worried. Worried is the wrong word, but I don't need to fixate on the fact that they look a certain way and that I look a certain way and that we look very different, because we are all unique. There's another quote which I didn't put on here about how like it's not a competition. The one, I'll try and find a graphic of it. A daisy doesn't worry that it's not a rose. Like, they're both beautiful flowers, or pick like any flowers. Like, a hydrangea's not worried that it's not a rose. They're both beautiful, but they're both different. That same quote, you don't need to be pretty like her, you can be pretty like you. These three body ones, I didn't really have any hope that my mindset would shift, but this has been my lock screen. This vision board has been my lock screen for the past 3 months. Subliminally, I guess, just every time I open my laptop, this is the first thing I'm seeing, and then I've got my year vision board for the year as my background, but this I put as my lock screen. And it's clearly been having an impact for me to see your body loves you, or stop putting your life on hold because of how you feel about your body. It's something so small, and it's not like I can demonstrate this change physically. Like, I don't think my body has really changed that much, but it's a mindset shift, a difference in how I'm viewing myself. Like, I don't look any different, I don't think, but I am feeling different, and that's changing the way that I'm perceiving things. It's really exciting, like looking at this and seeing those quotes in particular, seeing the difference. On this board I've got quite a few pictures of people reading. I've done so much reading this summer. I mean, partly because I've had more time since graduating. I like the manifesting my dreams and minding my business. I like that. The early mornings, big shirts, messy hair, a book and tea. I have been reading a lot more in the mornings, and I've been getting up earlier. So early mornings, I've been getting up at like 7, which is not something that I was doing before. So I know these are just little things, and you can probably easily dismiss them as like, oh, that's just a coincidence, or like things change, things happen. Like, you can't say that vision boards work or manifesting works. We can think of manifesting as being like this weird, not supernatural thing, but like this like new age thing. And I don't really necessarily get on board with the spiritual side of it that some people are with, because that's more like secular. We don't have to talk about that, but I know that people can be put off by the idea of like manifesting something, because you're like, what is that? But for me, what it means is just about being like really intentional about things. So I picked these quotes, being deliberate, intentional, hoping that they would inspire me, maybe change my mindset in some way, which I've definitely felt in terms of like, your body loves you, trying to be more compassionate to myself. That is to me what it's about. It's not always about like the physical things, like, no, I've not been on a bike ride through the country, no, I've not had pizza on a beach. It's more to do with the feeling. Even like this one of the girl with the t-shirt which says your energy is your currency. Like, I've been reminded in the past week that I have the power, like you have the power to change a situation purely based on the way that you choose to react to it. Your energy is your currency. If you go into something trying to be positive or proactive, or at least accepting it and trying to make the best of it, it's going to have a very different outcome. Even if it's not any different outcome physically, just the way that you perceive something. Then the other side, with a negative attitude, a negative energy, it's probably going to be way worse. And like, I'm not saying that I've been great at this every time. There have definitely been times where it's proven the negative and I'm like, oh yeah, I could have reacted a lot differently to that and been more energetically aligned with what I actually want to be, as opposed to being stuck in my feelings, and that may have held me back. It's not even about like, oh, I did all of this right. It's just like having things as a reminder. And I've just been really heartened by looking at this summer vision board again and reviewing it, because now I'm going to make my autumn one. I thought it was just like, oh, this will be a fun project and maybe something will happen. It's the power of seeing it repeatedly and kind of not paying attention to it, detaching from the outcome. I'm just like, oh, this is nice, and I've made this vision board because it's nice to look at, and then I'm seeing it all the time. I'm like, oh, very nice, but I'm not thinking this is going to make me have so much confidence, or this is going to make me love my body, or this is going to make me realize whatever, or have a more positive mindset. But because I've detached from that and I'm not putting anything on it, I'm not expecting anything of it, it has actually helped me move closer to my ideal version of myself. So that's really exciting, and something that I'm going to take into the next season, into autumn. Yeah, it's exciting. So I would urge you to do the same. If you had a vision board for the summer or for the year already, maybe review that. Look at this scarf my mum got for me. Look at the colours. It is so perfect for autumn, and now the weather is getting colder, I can wear this. I'm so happy. So I'm going to have it as like a little shawl or something. Should have sorted out how I'm going to wear it before I started filming. Oh my gosh, I'm obsessed. Okay. Ridiculous. Like short sleeves and a scarf. I wanted to talk about the importance of music, or at least the role that music can play if we're trying to make sure that we stay on a positive track or try and reinvent ourselves music is such a powerful tool. Hopefully you have already learned that you can regulate your mood in a good or bad way through the kind of music that you put on. You may have noticed that when you're feeling sad and you put on sad songs, you tend to stay in that sad mood. Whereas if you put on some high energy songs, those can help you feel more energetic, whether that's to help fuel your workout or fuel your run, give you some motivation to like get up and get going and get things done. Like put on some music while you're cleaning and get that to like inspire you. So music is a really powerful tool, and it's also just really fun. So if you want to try and manifest a better version of yourself, if you want to try and like get to the end of the year, these last few months, and have reached some of the goals that you maybe set yourself at the beginning of the year, music can help you. One thing that I'm really excited to listen to now that it's getting colder, now that I've got my scarf out and it feels more autumnal, it's been really warm here recently. Mid-20s in mid-September is not a vibe for me, but it is now cold and windy, which is definitely a vibe for me. Now that it is that weather, I am going to start listening to It's the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown soundtrack. I got into this randomly last year. It came up on my Spotify like as a recommended, and normally I just stick to what I've listened to before. Like I don't try anything new. I'm not very adventurous. I'm like, I like this song, or I like this album, or I like this band. But this, for some reason, I was like, It's the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown. I think it was September a year ago, and I was like, let's give this a listen. And oh my gosh, I love it so much. So I'm excited because that to me really means autumn. That was on like my Spotify Wrapped, those tracks were, because I listened to them so much. That is going to get me in the mood for autumn. But also Olivia Rodrigo's new album Guts came out recently, so I've been listening to that on repeat, so that's definitely going on my autumn playlist. I don't know if I'm going to make an official playlist. This is just like the stuff that I know is going to soundtrack this coming season. I have a playlist called Feeling Like My Ideal Self, which I keep 100 songs on there. So every so often I will add a few new ones that have been inspiring me, and I will get rid of some of the ones that I tend to skip when it's on shuffle, because it's just a playlist that I will keep on shuffle, and there are some that I'm like continuously skipping, and I'm like, okay, we can get rid of them, replace them with some that I am listening to and that do inspire me for this current season. So I would recommend, if you don't have that already, to do something similar. You may already have like running playlists or specific, like we said, high energy playlists for like the gym or whatever, or when you need to get stuff done. There are so many options. Like if you look on Spotify, playlists of stuff already done. Spotify is also really good in that it is really good at looking at what you currently listen to and then creating like daily mixes, or you might like this because you listen to this. Like I keep getting on the Smart Shuffle recommendations, I keep getting recommended Sabrina Carpenter because I listen to a lot of Taylor Swift and yeah, I guess Olivia Rodrigo now. So do you know what I mean? I think they make quite good like associations between things and recommending you things that you might like. There's a dark academia classical playlist on there which I really liked to study to, and that is very like moody, atmospheric. I think I also will be listening to the Succession soundtrack just because I really like those songs. I love Succession. So just start assembling either from playlists you already have or playlists that you can look at in terms of like daily mixes or whatever. Start looking at songs or thinking of albums or artists that you can use to define the coming season, that can motivate you, inspire you, help you reflect, whatever word, whatever feeling, I guess, you want to go into this season with. Whether you want to be more calm and reflective, maybe you want to be spending more time alone, you feel like summer was the time where you were socializing loads, but now you feel like you've got more work to do and more things to work on yourself, and so you want to just be a bit more calm, chill, reflective. So start finding those kind of songs. Maybe you want to get into running, so you need to find some high energy songs to put on your playlist. Maybe you want like really flowy feminine music. I love Alexandra Xavier and Lana Del Rey, obviously, for those kinds of songs. So just start defining what feeling you want and put those songs on a playlist and call that like autumn vibes or autumn manifestation, living my best autumn life. Do one like I did, which is across all seasons, for feeling like my ideal self. Start putting those songs together. This playlist is then something you can put on every morning, or anytime you're feeling a bit rubbish and just a bit like unmotivated or uninspired, you can put it on and it will hopefully give you a bit of a lift and help you as we go through autumn. Music can be such a force for good in terms of managing your mood. But yeah, as we talked about as well, you can end up putting on sad songs and getting stuck in a sadness loop because you're then reinforcing the sadness with more sad songs and going around. But it doesn't have to be like that. You can be intentional, deliberate about what you're listening to and use that to motivate you and inspire you. So if we're talking about creating a new version of yourself in autumn, stepping into your best self in order to have like a good September, October, November, December, a good time for the rest of the year, we're talking about that. I think it's important that we address music and what's going to soundtrack this coming season. So I hope that has given you something to think about and inspired you to get thinking and get making a playlist of your own. Please leave your autumn music recommendations in the comments, any music that makes you feel like autumn. Hopefully this has inspired you, given you some helpful ideas for how to become your best self this autumn, got you in the mood for autumn. If you want to see more videos about how to become your dream self, please subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.